Welcome to rSlash Today I F'd Up, where OP accidentally glues his butt cheeks together before a date. Today I F'd up, I'm an idiot. This happened Saturday night, but I only realized the F up yesterday. So I'm a bartender at my university bar, and since it's spooky season, we are having events constantly. Saturday night was a costume party / contest. I was working 9 to 3 a.m. The event was 10 to 2 a.m. for context. So I'm running my butt off. The barbacks are sprinting about. There's a good 700 people in the bar. Big bar, 2 stories. We party right in the Great White North. So I'm really not paying attention to faces. Just pour the drinks as fast as possible and watch for drunks who need to be cut off. 1 a.m. rolls around and there's a bit of a lull in the crowd. It goes down a bit and I've got a minute to grab a bottle of water. Then I notice this little brunette who's just hanging out at the bar without a drink. So as a bartender I go, "Hey cutie, what can I get you?" She looks at me, leans across the bar, effing winks at me, touches my arm and says, "How about a ride home?" My dumb think it's one of the barbacks to call her a cab. It didn't click at the time in my head what happened cause it was only like 1 a.m. and I worked till 3, right over my head. So, dear smoking hot girl who I don't know the name of, I apologize for being dense as a wall. I'm working all week. Please come try again. Today I effed up by being excited for a job offer. I've been in a rut this year with my current job in education / ASD / behaviors. There's been a lot of bureaucracy with upper level decision making that has resulted in constant staff out. I applied last week for a better position somewhere else. I get an interview for an amazing new job. Better pay, more autonomy, the works. I crushed the interview with their team of people. It went as well as it could. All of my answers were thoughtful and poignant. They responded with lots of positive body language, smiles, and head nods. At the end of the interview, the top guy walked me out the door, stopped me, and shook my hand. As he was shaking my hand, he told me how impressed they all were with me and said, "I'm gonna tell the administration that I want you." Overwhelmed with excitement and surprise, I looked him right in the eyes and blurted out, "I want you too." Update, I have to wait for the administration to process the paperwork and officially offer me the job, but it's pretty much a lock. Oh, and yes, I'm a large, bearded, tattooed man. Then we have another contribution in the comments. I did something similar a while ago. I was in my early 20s and felt pretty confident going for an interview at a bank in London. The interviewer was a pretty blonde, maybe slightly older than me, who was really friendly and enthusiastic. She touched my leg a couple of times during the interview, and I thought she was flirting. She walked me out of the building towards the reception and casually asked, "What are you doing now?" I answered, "I'm just heading around the corner to meet some friends for drinks." She said, "That's nice, but can you remind me what kind of role you're currently working in?" And he went on to clarify that he didn't get the job. Or laid, for that matter. Today I effed up by yelling, "It's Boy Scouts! Get the gun!" Actually, it was my wife, and a couple of months ago during the Boy Scouts popcorn sales, or whatever they're selling this year. We always buy popcorn, or whatever the Boy Scouts are selling, since my son was once a Boy Scout and was a great salesman and won lots of prizes for his sales. So the Boy Scouts in the neighborhood can always count on us buying a few boxes from whoever shows up at the door. We have 3 dogs. 2 of them go into a barking frenzy when anyone rings the doorbell. To combat this, we keep a water gun by the door since being squirted a couple times shuts them right up. One day, the doorbell rings, the dogs go into their frenzy, and my wife notices that the squirt gun is not sitting by the front door but has been moved to the kitchen. So she yells, "It's Boy Scouts, get the gun!" to my son in the other room. When she opened the door, the 2 boys were about to bolt until they see the small purple water gun in her hand. So anyways, I started blasting. Today I effed up by gluing my butt cheeks together before a long-awaited date. So there's this girl who lives a state away from me, and she's been planning to come visit me for 3 months. The plan was for her to come over when I got off work at 9:30 a.m. I'd worked 3 overnights in a row, and I didn't have time to clean my apartment or get myself ready for her visit in the days prior due to being exhausted and/or at work. Flash forward to this morning. I get off work around 8:25 and have an hour to get home and get ready before she gets there. I made it home and had 30 minutes to spare. I decided that, at most, I needed 5 minutes to shower, so I figured I had time to clean up a little bit. As I'm finishing cleaning, about to get in the shower, she texts me and says she'll be 15 to 20 minutes late. This is where the cascading failures begin. 15 to 20 minutes isn't a lot of time, but I thought it was enough to get my downstairs trimmed up, just in case things got physical. At first, I tried to use an electric razor and it was going pretty well. It quickly turned badly and I cut my right nut twice in like 10 seconds. I decided that there is no way I could finish this without my manhood looking like a murder scene. I was panicking and had no idea what to do, seeing as she'd be there in less than 10 minutes and my undercarriage was in shambles. I went to put my razor away under the sink and noticed a box of self-waxing strips that my friend had left behind when she was helping me wax my back. Perfect. I didn't have time to read the directions, so I ripped the strips open and placed them both into the middle of the jungle down there. I went to pull the first strip off and was greeted with extreme resistance and searing pain. Once again, I was too committed to not finishing and time was running out. I made the decision to rip the second strip off and just jump in the shower and hope that the encounter didn't turn physical. As soon as I go to wash the wax from my nether regions, I realize that an enormous amount of extremely sticky wax is still all over my crack. I frantically try every soap I had in my shower to get it off. I even tried to use a coffee ground face mask. That was unpleasant. At this point, somehow, the wax sticky factor had quadrupled and I was 2 minutes away from her arrival. I said F it and dried off and got dressed. She called me to say that she was here and I got up to answer the door, when I realized that my boxers were stuck to my butt and that my butt cheeks were firmly stuck together. No time to figure it out now. We chatted for a while and things ended up moving into a physical direction. She could tell that I was wincing in pain when I moved around and she kept asking what was wrong. I played it off as muscle cramps. This worked fine until she went to take off my boxers and could feel the resistance of the wax glue from my cheeks and crack. She immediately looked concerned, and I had no choice but to tell her what had gone down moments before her arrival. It's been a long time since I've been that embarrassed. The kicker is that once she stopped hysterically laughing at me, she pointed out that the wax kit comes with after wax removal wipes that I had failed to see during my frantic decision to wax in the first place. Edit. Sorry y'all, I fell asleep after typing this. Didn't know so many people needed closure. I was successful in my mission with the rear flank exposed. My butt cheeks got stuck to the sheets more than a few times, and more than a few hairs were removed this way. But all in all, it went relatively well considering the circumstances. And yes, for all those interested, we had intercourse and I'm seeing her again today. Also, I was talking to my best friend on Snapchat during the whole process and I have a video of my reaction to the first strip being removed. And here is a video of OP in action. Then we have this unbelievable contribution in the comments. At least you didn't use super glue. One time, I was working at a liquor store and one of my customers told me she went to jail for super gluing her ex's butt cheeks together. She found out he was cheating on her, so while he was passed out drunk, she glued his cheeks shut. When he got up, he went to go number 2 and it all sprayed out the top of his crack and onto the toilet tank and the wall. She thought it was really funny. Then he called 911. They sent emergency medical services to take him to the hospital. He had to have a skin graft and she went to jail. She said it was worth it though. Today I effed up by vomiting down my manager's neck. I felt quite awful about this lie and I needed a place to say this. This past Friday, my office was in a meeting. Our internal meeting room is designed to fit as many people in there as possible, as we recently hired a bunch of people and the room is too small. So we sit in rows of seats with no desk in front of us, sort of like a school bus, I suppose. My boss is sitting directly in front of me, and with this specific meeting, the back row, where I sat, was empty except for me. Our CTO is the one holding the meeting, so we're all seated listening. I was rushed into the meeting and was unable to take my routine morning dump beforehand. As I sit behind my boss, I tried slipping out a silent fart because my stomach began to ache from the huge McDonald's breakfast I ate. About 10 minutes passed, and I felt something in my boxers touching my inner leg as my brain completely omitted the fart from earlier. I instinctively think I sat in something, so I slide my hand in my boxers, only concerned with being discreet. My next idiotic instinctive move after removing my hand was to sniff it. Well, it was immediately known that I now had doo-doo on my fingers and just inhaled its smell directly. This caused me to instantly gag, and that, too, wasn't just gas. I projectile vomited my pancake breakfast up and it slathered my boss's neck, running down the inside of his collared shirt. I instantly ran out of the room to the bathroom to wash my hands and clean myself up. I returned to the office and apologized endlessly and blamed it on my McDonald's breakfast and lied, saying that it must have been undercooked sausage. I got the day off and he actually wished me well, unknowing of the fact I actually threw up on him because my vile self sniffed my own feces. And then the top comment says, "Sometimes when I feel like my day is going bad, I read something like this. Thanks, OP. Today I effed up by going to work on magic mushrooms." I want to start by saying drugs and drug use are pretty commonplace in the restaurant industry. Mainly alcohol and cocaine are the most common. One to wind you down after work and one to get you going for a rush. Other drugs are not hard to find. Well, I was a bit of a hippie growing up. I'm talking white boy with dreadlocks that played bass in a slightly psychedelic rock band, so naturally I started a pretty good relationship with hallucinogenic drugs, mainly mushrooms and acid. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm out of culinary school in my early 20s working away for a restaurant that had one of the best kitchen crews I've ever had the pleasure of working with. I got the rare Friday off, so I start making plans with my buddies to take the day for a much needed mushroom trip as I hadn't done them in a couple years. Around 2:30 we take our dose, about 5.5 grams each, and start waiting for them to kick in. Now, for anyone who's never done them, they can take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to kick in. So me and my buddies are just smoking weed and playing video games. About 40 minutes after taking them, I got a call from work. "So-and-so cut his hand pretty bad, we need you in ASAP." So being the good employee I am, I say, "Yeah, no problem, I'll be there in 30 minutes. I get off the phone and my buddy asks, dude, what did you just agree to?" Without missing a beat, I said, "I'm going into work. Guy cut his hand." "Dude, we're like 10 minutes out from tripping." "Oh no." I panic briefly, but remember past experiences of friends having bad trips and calm myself down. Knowing we have a good crew, I'm thinking, maybe I can just hide down on fryers for the night or something. I get in, not tripping too bad yet. Colors are brighter and I've got a warm feeling in my stomach. Okay, I effing got this. Stroll over to the reservation book. About 150 people between 6 and 8, right in the middle of when I'm gonna be peaking. Okay, I'm screwed. I get onto the line and it turns out I'm working sauté with a guy I'm so in sync with we barely have to talk. I asked to take the easy job of setting up pans and plating. I figured I'd set myself on fire if I was the one cooking. As we get into the bulk of the rush, I start tripping harder and harder. Things look like they're breathing, I'm getting minor hallucinations in my peripheral vision, but I'm keeping my stuff together. At about 7, we are just flying. Food is coming out so well, and the guy is calling out orders is keeping everyone motivated and says, "Holy cow, the sauté boys are killing it tonight." I can't contain myself anymore and just burst out laughing. Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. As I'm laughing, I manage to say, "I'm on effing mushrooms, man," which sends the whole kitchen into an uproar that can be heard from the dining room. Word got around quick to everyone, and they're all making fun of me and pointing and laughing. The word gets to the owner. He comes back, takes a look at me, and asks the board caller, "Has he been putting up food?" "Yeah, he's been killing it." "Then I don't give a flip what he's on, just keep killing it." The rest of the night goes smooth, so I guess it wasn't much of an F-up in the end, but it was a heck of an interesting night for sure. Dude, this isn't today I effed up. This is today I got effed up. Today I effed up by coming home for lunch and giving my girlfriend 2 black eyes. My girlfriend and I have lived together for a year. I usually don't have time to go home during lunch, so I eat at work. But yesterday, I had an extra hour, so I went home during lunch. I was wearing my headphones and cooking. Suddenly, I felt someone behind me. I spun around with my elbow out, and while I was mid-spin, it dawned on me that my girlfriend eats lunch at home every day. But I realized too late and elbowed her in the face. Thankfully, her nose isn't broken, but she has 2 black eyes. The real kicker is that I was planning to propose this weekend and had everything set up. But now I need to postpone because I don't want her to be reminded of the time I clocked her in the face every time we look at our proposal pictures. And then OP posted an update to explain that her eyes healed fine. And he proposed and she said yes, so at least things turned out well in the end. That was rSlash Today I F'd Up, and if you don't hit that like button, then you definitely F'd up.